and brown for the time being. The year, as of now, is 2022, but I'm going to cast my reflections back around the 1980s, 1983, and looking at an umbrella organization called UK Link Community Project. And underneath that umbrella was a man called Leroy Wallace. Now, there was another prominent figure within that organization called Randolph Richardson, and that is the man that I'd like to focus on as of now onwards. Now, what was so particular about this man? I would say that he represented the chair. He was the chairperson of an organization called CHROMA. Now, CHROMA, C-H-R-O-M-A, an acronym for Chronicle of Minority Art. Now, the point implicit here and now for this organization was to encourage authors, writers, developers, and artistics, and those with the ability to be musicians and painters to come forward. Now, the reason I am sitting in this chair in order to give credence to the organization that blossomed out of CHROMA is writing and writers. I've got in my hand a book to do with CHROMA. We're going to go to town this morning in order for me to just reflect some of the things we did as writers. CHROMA blossomed amongst the minority community. No need for me to say black, because black is because personality emanating from, irrespective of whatever the skin color. The beauty of CHROMA is that we, for the first time, were producing writers. And my arguments at the time, because by the way, I came from Jamaica in 1962, so I've been here for some 60 years, is that when pursuing the likes of O-level, A-level, and preparation for university matriculation, there were hardly any authors from the community of Afro-Caribbean writers. And the point implicit in CHROMA itself is to do something in order to redress this imbalance. Now, I am so pleased, I'm going to go into the pages of the book, to say that there was a collective of authors, naming about 10 of us, and we were beginning to produce poems, short stories, short plays, and above all, performance poetry. We, little by little, we were becoming performers, and the man in the midst of all of this was Randolph Richardson. He was chair. He organized meeting from week to week and make sure that we turned out on time. We're not going to have Jamaican time. We are all going to be so challenged by the fact that we are presented with an opportunity. You're going to hear that one of the first persons deciding to write a whole book was Nestle Saunders. Now here is her photograph. But we're going to come clean by giving you a profile. I would say an artistic, more artistic than academic profile of all of the members of this organization. So I will start with a young woman called Cherie. And she was so young at that time. So how old was she? She was 11. And her message, we called her the baby. And her message is, her mother sat her on her knee and said, "Oh, let real an author in her own right. And so CHROMA was beginning to provide a ground for her. Somebody else, another name I could focus on is Beverly Lindsay. Beverly Lindsay Dennis, as she's now known, went on to become the pastor of a church. But she was one of, I'd say, the blazing fire of CHROMA. She wrote a lot, and what she did do in order to open our eyes to the world of performance poetry, she was dazzling with imagination. When crowds came to listen to the CHROMA writers, they called upon Beverly in order to bring the house down. And somebody else I'd like to introduce you to is Christine Bell. Christine Bell was a poet. She wrote her own material of no mean order. When she was ready to speak, I tell you what I personally liked, not just her writing, but my name is Pitman, loved the tones of her voice. Her speaking voice has stood the test of time over months and years, and we're now in 2022. She is a radio presenter, and currently, as we speak, Radio Kemet sings her praise from day to day. What am I saying? She was not the only. I have to say to you that two male figures who were writers of the time, one was called Tony Robbins and the other one was called Pitman Brown. We were avid. We were drawn with the warmth, exuberance, and sentimentality of joining the forces of writers thereby so that we could spread our wings and become what we wanted. We've always wanted to become authors. Tony Robinson has written quite a number of poems, and they are part of the title of his poems, For the Beautiful Sunlight. The sun shines through the early morning mist, while the birds with the various sounds welcome the morning. The blooming tropical flowers heavily laden with dew, welcoming the bees and hummingbirds as the sunlight streams through the window. I know it is time to face the day. As we leave our beds to look through the window, we bid goodbye to the night. As we welcome the light, bats and owls retreat in fright, the daylight affecting their sight. But as for me, I love the light. To see the beautiful colors of nature, oh, what a pleasant sight! Thank God for the sunlight, so beautiful. More on Tony later. Now, it is another person I'd like to describe as Vida Watley. She also taught us so much about the art of storytelling, story writing. Shattered Dream is the title of her story. The central figure is a 5-year-old girl. Her name is Martha, and she comes from Nevis in the West Indies. By the time she'd reached 16, she finished school and was offered a job in the hotel industry, where she was earning $15 for a whole month. Whereupon she now decided no. She would migrate to the UK in her quest for better pay conditions. Instead, matters got worse, and so much she was unable to go back, pay her fare to go back, in order to bury her mother in Nevis. Oh my gosh, what a shattered dream. The CHROMA organization carried an impetus of a different variety, is the spice of life, and we are going to look upon somebody called Cherry Maxwell. Unfortunately, Cherry has passed on some 4 years ago, but she was one of the foundation members of the CHROMA Black Writers, and I dare say the daffodil and the grass. I remember her by a poem for that name. I wish I could read something about the daffodil and the grass. You know, something CHROMA disintegrated and folded up, but the effect of such a powerful artistic organization left me so that in future, 1998, I wrote my first book entitled The Inklings of a Black Christ. So a review was conducted by Andrea Brown. And here are her words. I found your book enlightening, enriching, well-written, well-researched. Some might even say, well, leave it alone. You see, it wasn't when I now started reading deeply into my Bible that I came to the realization that there is enough evidence to suggest that the Christ figure was in fact African. I can't rule out race as one of the component factors behind all of this so-called crucifixion story. We all, as African Caribbean people, have got a cross to bear, and for want of endurance, have sat back for far too long. So what I'd really like to say at the end of the day is, well done, Pitman Brown. Now for the last and final verse of the poem by Beverly Lindsay Dennis, where it reads, think of the wretched, the starved, not able to eat, some sleeping in the rain, no shoes on their feet, some having lost all but the misery they've had to endure, losing everything they've ever owned. If only, yes, we could think of the other half of some who will never love.